A lot of times I'm driving, there's nothing to do, and I shuffle through the radio before I unglue. There's a lot of red on ways, it's traffic, I'm screwed, and I'm wired a bit different than a regular dude. It's not a bad thing, I embrace it, it's true. The radio don't stimulate brain chemistry fluid. The Buddha found nirvana and the Four Noble Truths. Through a meditative process, right action he proved. For me, I require the use of a tool, a detector, pin, pointer, shovel, and beach scoop. I'm meant to work the dirt with my history crew, but everywhere I look, my interest taboo. Most people choose Bieber over Tippy Canoe. What does a detectorist listen to when the radio is full of bad music and news? I need an alternative for me to peruse. Beyond Sight and Sound gets fantastic reviews. A metal detecting show where my thought bubble brews. Thank you, Josh Kimmel, for inviting me to a detecting dork out with guests like yours truly.
All right, it's that time. It's time for Beyond Sight and Sound. Let's do this.
Hey boys and girls, we are going to talk about S&W shooters and prospectors. What is S&W shooters and prospectors?
We at S&W Shooters and Prospectors help people find treasure.
Did you say treasure?
Yes, treasure. Just listen to this amazing review from our happy customer, Jackie Sparrow.
Chocolate ship-shape and a pleasure to deal with. I was able to buy everything that I needed at prices that were shillings less than others. I found my 9 pieces of 8 in no time. Savvy?
I know you're asking yourself, why should I shop at S&W Shooter and Prospectors?
Chuck Smalley has over 45 years of metal detecting experience. He works with each customer one-on-one to customize their setup to match their skill level.
So if you always dreamt of being a pirate, contact Chuck at S&W Shooters and Prospectors and he'll dig up a great deal for you.
High passion rum not included.
Caution. Please do not operate motor vehicles or power equipment while under the influence of this show. Listening to this show could cause side effects such as bouts of laughter, violent binges of cabin fever, and even dreams of silver and gold. Please be advised. Now that the fine print is out of the way, on with the show. All right, we're back. We're live once again. You are listening to Metal Detecting Beyond Sight and Sound. Oh,
viewing, listening. I don't know. It is what it is. And it looks like we've got a number of people dropping into the chat. Good to see. I see the Bills, Jason Jones. Let's see. I'm sure Chuck's in there. Team Lynch. The mods are in. Good to see. Definitely. So, looks like everything's working well. Double check the screens here real quick. Yeah. Looks like the chat's moving. Scott's in. Quite a few of them dropping in. I believe I even saw Bob pop in. Welcome again, tuning in from the UK. So, we'll get things rolling here. Obviously, tonight we've got, let's get Chuck in here. See how he's doing. How's it going, Chuck?
Going well. Beautiful weather, dry. Lots going on. I talked to you earlier on the phone. You know, the reach of this podcast is phenomenal. And there's a lot of people that can't get in on the chat because they're working, but they listen while they're in their truck or they listen to the replay. Hi, everybody. Good full house tonight. We got a great young man on tonight. And, hey, Phil, how you doing, Janet? Shout out to Barb. I hope things are getting better, but it doesn't sound like it yet down there. That's a sad thing. Well, we got Suki in the house. The Bills are in. I think I saw Dennis. All of you are in there. So this will be a fun night tonight, and let you cut right to it there, Josh.
All right. Well, we'll go ahead and we'll get our guest added to the screen too. Tonight we've got Lou DeFeo. You guys and gals may know him as Indiana Tones on YouTube, and even more recently, he is the man behind the IRateMetalDetectors.com website. After Merrill basically handed over the reins to him. So let's get him in here as well. And I can try to adjust my screen here. We'll present him. There we go. How's it going,
everybody.
Lou?
Good evening, everybody. How are you? Doing good. Wow, there's a lot of people.
Nice.
Yeah, the weather's getting cooler. That means it's almost time to hit the woods. I'm very excited about the cool weather that's coming in.
Yeah. Actually, that's a good jumping off point too. With the weather being the way that it is, the change in the weather and everything. Well, I guess first off, for those who might not know, how did you come up with Indiana Tones?
Well, I was thinking of a pun that had to do with treasure hunting. I like Indiana Jones, and it just clicked. I just thought about it. I was like, I think that's it. It was that between that and a couple other names, but that one stuck. And everyone says it's a great name, so I just kept it.
Yeah, because I mean, obviously, if they listen to the accent, they can clearly tell you're not from Indiana.
Yeah, I get that sometimes. Are you from Indiana? No, sorry. I feel bad for somebody in Indiana that wants that name.
Yep.
Sorry.
Right. And how long have you been detecting? What prompted you to get into the hobby?
My father kept telling me he was part of this big club that I'm actually vice president of now. A while ago, when it was like in its glory, there was a lot of people in it. And at that time, I didn't know what metal detecting was. I thought it was just some people that went on the beach and found coins and garbage. I didn't realize you could do all this, like almost like an archaeologist. and he lent me a metal detector. I think it was a Titan, and I went down to Maryland, Ocean City. I found jewelry, coins, glasses, and I was hooked from that day, that vacation. And then I started watching YouTube videos, and that was the end of it.
Wow.
Yep.
Way to go. I mean, obviously you stuck with it, and
yep. I think
where
the coolest hobby no one knows about. Sorry.
Yeah. And somewhere along the line, apparently, you met up with Meryl Kazanjian.
That's correct. That's right. Through YouTube. That's right.
Oh, wow. Okay.
One of our friends coordinated a meeting with people. There's 5 boroughs in New York City. And basically, one person from each borough came out. We met at Coney Island Beach, and we all hit it off. It was just everybody was friendly, and then we still talk this day. We have a Facebook Messenger chat, and some people we've let in. It grew a little bigger, and we're constantly talking, showing finds. We don't put everything on the internet. Obviously, you don't want people to know where you're going.
Right. Yeah, and I imagine for being in such a densely populated area, it's kind of tough to post up photos sometimes and not have people know where you're at.
That's correct. There's only so many parks. Luckily, the borough I'm in is the borough of parks. There's hundreds of parks here. Some of them are small, but it's very wooded area. It's mostly suburban, so it's much better out here. It's just there's so much woods out here.
So,
yeah.
So you probably don't have near the issue of people kind of stalking you to see where you're going, what you're finding, and things like that.
Yeah. Only the beach. You have to keep like the camera down so you don't show landmarks. You'll see like a building or
move.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would make sense. Yeah. Because it can be, and I'm sure you've seen it too, it can be some stiff competition out there on the beaches.
Oh, yeah, definitely. 100%. I don't know if it's as bad as Florida from what I've heard on the Treasure Coast or certain areas, but there's definitely people like after a storm, you'll see somebody's either dragging a scoop or unfortunately people leave holes, but there's definitely competition out here.
Wow.
Oh, yeah.
With you mentioning that, with the weather changing, you're excited to be able to get back out in the woods and everything. What type of a hunter do you fancy yourself as?
I love going on the beach for rings, but I'm in my glory when I'm in the woods doing around like colonial or early 1800 foundations. I mean, that's where you're really finding history out there. Or, yeah, I would say woods is my number one place to go because the history here goes so far back from the Lenape Native Americans to Huguenots and Dutch. There's the finds. It is so diverse. I found Civil War button, and then I found a newest silver coin not too far away. You can just find anything out here. It's pretty cool. Mostly in the woods. That's where you get the most of the.
Wow.
I mean, you could get it on the beach too. The island I'm on is more of a bay before it hits the Atlantic, so we don't get that many waves unless there's a big storm. You really have to go into the ocean. I'm not too fond of doing that by myself out here.
So Lou, you're hunting the woods. Are a lot of the woods considered park there?
Some of them are. New York City has a permit. It's free to get. You just have to provide your license and follow certain rules.
Okay.
Yeah. And of course, put everything back the way you found it. Unfortunately, some people don't do that. And that's where our clubs and it's always, that's the good part of YouTube. people teaching people how to do it,
Good.
things ethically and keeping the hobby safe from being banned.
Good. You know, you were talking about the woods out here. Woods are generally, well, there are parks heavily timbered, but most of it is privately owned.
Well, private's ideal if you have permission from the owner. Then there's no regulation but what the owner tells you, right?
Right. Right.
That's true. Definitely a good point.
The parks out here, if they're considered part of the park, you're supposed to only use a hand tool. Can't be too close to a tree. There's a whole list you have to follow, but it's available online.
Yeah.
Anybody wants to come out to New York and metal detect?
Well, see, out where you're at, and moving westward to our area, you're able to find much older finds as far as coins and buttons and things like that. And there's certain trails through Illinois and into Iowa and in Indiana also that are really old, but that's a narrow column through the state.
That sounds exciting, though. I always wanted to do like an old route like that or a ghost town.
Yeah,
that's probably real fun to do.
They are fun. We got ghost towns that we do Iowa and Illinois and the little ones in Wisconsin.
Awesome. Definitely want to try that one.
They're all over the place, actually.
Yeah, I want to do like an old Western
too. Right? And it's strange too, because like, we hear you saying, yeah, I'd like to get out to Illinois or here or there. And a lot of people are probably saying, are you kidding me? Look at where you're at. You're in like the earliest parts of the country.
Right.
But you're wanting to experience these other areas.
Yeah, I think it's anytime something's further away, even with even growing up in high school, off subject, if there was like a clothing store, everybody was popular, it was far away. Once it got here, it's like it's not a big deal. And if you watch like movies like Tombstone, I mean, that's further west. I mean, I would want to metal tech something like that kind of area. It just looks cool. Anything historic like that.
Well, that makes sense.
Yeah,
I understand that. Definitely.
But
and how long ago was...
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, there is something special. I don't know how you guys feel about it, but finding something where I've lived my whole life. I lived in this borough my entire life. Finding something that dates back here that I could save and possibly give to a museum. There's something, I get a good feeling about that. I don't know if you guys feel the same way about where you live. But I get excited anytime I can find something and possibly donate to either an old house that's preserved or that's an exciting feeling. And I do want to find gold rings too, though. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah, I've worked with archaeologists quite extensively, and the finds we had went in to museums where other people can enjoy them. I've worked old homestead sites. I've worked old town sites and give stuff to the landowners and share with them and end up getting more invitations to the area around it and prove that we're good at what we're doing for them and everybody else. So that just lifts our hobby up.
I'm all about that. It's exciting to hear. There's only I find that not every person that metal detects is like this. We really have to it's good to be a cheerleader for the hobby, just like that. Teaching people ethics, giving back. Because unfortunately, everybody passes away eventually. And I can't think of anything worse than just having a pile of stuff in a bucket that has no context if it's historical, when it could have been preserved for everyone to enjoy from beyond now,
Yeah.
Right. Not to mention the fact that, your relatives may be looking at it going, what are we supposed to do with all this stuff? I guess we'll sell it at a garage sale.
That's right.
Yeah, that or though, if you talk about coins, somebody might not give them what it's actually worth if they have something rare or. So it's good to either put it like in some kind of explanation for your significant finds.
Right.
If you can,
yeah.
Now, I always tell everybody, we work to make the hobby better.
Yes.
But in the back of our mind, there's a bit of pirate in all of us.
Oh, yes.
And sometimes we're hunting places, that's our spot. We don't tell anybody. We don't take videos. We don't throw it on YouTube, unless you're shooting at the ground, things like that. I mean, we're out there to find some things too.
Sure.
And but when you get asked into some historical type of stuff, and we've done that in the area, work with the archaeologists and things, and I've worked extensively for quite a few years out at Montpelier with the archaeological team out there. We were turning everything in, everything went into the museum, and I've worked with other ones doing the same thing. Our club works with the local archaeology club, and they've went out and they've worked the Indian sites out here, and that's all part of it. It raises us up. You close the gates, you fill your holes, you take out your garbage, and you try to teach others to do the same thing. Make sure they got permission and no night hawking.
It's a big one. I have a club member, Mike King, told me about Montpelier. I want to do that. Do you recommend that program that they have there? It sounds that's kind of exciting hearing that somebody else talking about that.
I was on the first group that they had come in and do it as detectorists. I worked with them for off and on over 15 years, and I highly recommend it. You'll learn a lot. You'll learn how to date things. They've got you in the lab. You get out in the field. You mark, you dig. They love nails. Nails tell the whole history. They want you digging nails because they can even ID nails from the forge from Thomas Jefferson. Mm-hmm. There's a certain way it was made. The forge from Montpelier itself and other stuff. And as you're digging, you'll find a lot of neat other items from that era. James Madison had his own winery, and they find the bottles yet, pieces of it, and there's JM marked on it, and all this stuff goes into the museum. It's studied by archaeologists in training and all this kind of stuff, and it's well worth it. You'll learn a lot. You'll get a certificate from Matt Reeves. Matt Reeves is very good. I haven't been back for several years. It's just everything that's been going on with the COVID and all that kind of stuff. But I've been there enough, worked with them enough. When I'm there, I am part of the group. I have my name tag, and I work and train other people how to do it.
It's awesome.
And for people that look back in the archives, we've actually had Matt Reeves on the show to talk about the Montpelier program.
Oh, cool. I got to check that one out.
Yeah. And they still do it, and you'll meet some great people out there, Dennis and others at Metal Detect. They are hired by the archaeological group there. They detect, they find new sites, they pin it. You may get to go in, pin and dig it.
Wow.
And you have got history back to 1650 there.
Wow. Oh my goodness.
So it's a lot of fun to dig it up.
And before the show, Lou, we were talking about how wouldn't it be nice to be able to clone yourself so you could go to work and still be able to detect?
Yes, sir.
Wouldn't that be the dream job?
Yeah, they should make a movie about that.
Yep.
Yeah, getting paid to detect at Montpelier.
Yep. And
life goals.
People, and you learn a lot. You work with archaeologists. You learn how to preserve things and clean it properly and for your own good. They teach you all kinds of different things that they use from, you got a rare coin. You don't want to do electrolysis. A little bit of Elmer's glue, let it clear and pull it off, and that pulls that layer of crap right off that coin. They teach you a lot of stuff. It's worth it. It really is.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then you can take that newly acquired skill set back home, and maybe it opens doors for you in your area then.
Of course.
And we've used it. I've used it, and it's worth it.
And I'm not sure, because Chuck said it's been a few years since he's been back out there. So I don't know if Chuck can speak as to whether or not they still do it or not, but I know they used to have a scholarship program that you could apply for.
And I don't think that is going on right now, but that could get redone, because at that time the scholarship program was boosted by Mine Lab and other companies, and you got on it, they paid for all of it 100%.
Wow. Man, I wish I knew about this when I was in college.
Yeah, all you had.
Let's go back in time.
Because I've been out there at least more than a dozen times working.
Wow.
My wife went. She does the actual archaeological. Yeah, and they've got rooms there in the village. They have a bunch of the DuPont homes that were built. You can rent a room right there on the site. They got a kitchen. You cook your meals.
Sounds beautiful. And I got more excited about hearing about this in my club after visiting Washington, D.C. And anybody listening, I brought a 5-year-old and 2 11-year-olds to Washington, D.C. If you think they'll be bored, they weren't. They had the time of their life. It's a very good opportunity to get your kids excited about history, Ford's Theater, seeing all the archives. It's just a wonderful place to go. I just want to throw that in there for everybody listening.
Oh, yeah, it would be a great way to kind of get them interested in the history and maybe break the ice, even warming them up to the hobby of metal detecting.
Okay, yes. I'm going to interrupt. I have a question for you that's in the chat from Scott McClory. Lou, can you tell us how exactly you test and rate metal detectors? Do the vendors send you stuff for free? Do they compensate you for your reviews, etc.?
I would say 90% of the metal detectors I either bought or Merrill bought out of pocket. I got a couple that I won on giveaways. I go to a lot of seated hunts, so I win detectors. 1 or 2 detectors I was given to by a vendor, but I don't get paid to do it, and I'm going to be brutally honest. And unfortunately, I don't think they're going to want to give me anything for free, because they might not like the review I give them if it's not jogging.
You got to be brutally honest in reviews.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing. You can tell who's getting the stuff. I'm not talking about people that spokespeople. I'm talking about like there's certain people that just do it for the brand, but that's
right. Yeah, certain YouTube channels, you can just tell that there's something going on there. Something's a little hokey, and I mean, you already had your YouTube channel, so you've kind of got a reputation to uphold, so to speak. So yeah, you want to be honest with individuals on how the detector performs for you. Otherwise, they're going to come back and they're going to go, well, you said this thing was great and it's a piece of junk. Why? What's going on?
It's true. And it's I through the pandemic, I would go live for hours. I mean, I was showing how metal detecting really is. You're not going to find anything. I don't like doing that too often because I want to metal detect. I don't want to be talking all the time. I mean, it could get boring if you're sitting there watching it. During the pandemic, it wasn't boring because people weren't doing anything. But I was showing how it really is. Look, I'm finding all this garbage. This is what you have to expect. Or find a place with a lot of finds in it.
Yeah. I noticed Merrill, Metal Detecting NYC. He was doing that quite a bit too.
Yes. And note, if he has a video with a lot of rings, it's over the course of hours and days, like consolidated. You want to cut all the bad stuff out, or You know.
Oh yeah,
You want to see 100 pull tabs being pulled.
You know, there's certain lines, and I've been a dealer for a long time. There's certain detectors I just won't sell. I don't think they're worth my time to sell them to somebody that's going to have a lot of trouble with them. And you guys doing your reviews, I may or may not agree with it. You don't want me online doing a review because I'm a little brutal,
Right?
More than brutal.
That's okay.
And, I won't sell them. And people call, well, why don't you sell that? I'll be brutal with them. They're junk. They just don't live up to what they say they are.
Mm.
And we like that. I like that. I like seeing that from you.
right. Yeah, I mean, people don't have time to beat around the bush and sugarcoat everything. They want it straight. Is this machine going to work for me, or isn't it?
Now we're going to change course on you. I got another question for you from Shannon. Do you do construction sites in the city when they're taking buildings out?
Well, in my borough, I don't, because usually I work with builders and it's kind of a conflict of interest to do that. I do know members of the clubs that do that, and they find like really blob top bottles, all cool stuff. I really want to do that. I'm going to try to find down the road when I have more time to try to find a site where I could get on. But that is one awesome thing to do. All the people that do that find the best stuff.
Yeah, they do.
It's really awesome.
That when they were turning a highway out and redoing a bridge a couple of years ago in the Quad Cities, I got on a couple sites, and the way I got on it was a bottle digger. Friend of mine from Port Byron, Illinois, one of the best I've ever known. He said, I want you to detect this place. And we come up with some good coins, but he was probing. And for our area, he was getting bottles that dated to 1810, 1800.
Wow.
It was the oldest section. Yeah, that was in that
awesome.
town, and he dug some dandies, and he was real happy.
That's awesome.
So yeah, those sites, you're right. And keep putting your questions up, folks. I'll get them to Lou here.
To go back at how do I I think they also asked that last question. How do I test them? Well, it all depends. If something is advertised as a water machine for the beach, I had a White's MX Sport a while ago, was advertised as a water machine, and it was one of the worst metal detectors in salt water. And it was an expensive machine. It did good in the woods, though. Now, if something's advertised as it's great, I'm going to go to the beaches out here. We have beaches filled with iron pipes because they used to be old buildings on the beaches. And if I could get in between that and get deep coins that wash in, that's one way. Between doing that, going to the park, because it's like a machine gun rapid fire. But I have to get a lot of time in to actually tell you about the pros and cons. Also go by how heavy it is, how long does it hold the charge, how easy is it to navigate. There's a whole thing I do.
All right. Now I got another one for you. And something I asked you earlier. What machine do you use mainly right now? What's your go-to? You got to have a go-to. I know you do.
Well, I've been using two. I'm dabbling with the Deus 2 and the MANTICORE, but I mainly have been using the MindLab Xterra Pro because I bring it with me to work. I go detecting right after work because I get detecting it as much as I can. It's, God forbid something happens to it, it's not too expensive, and it works good. It works good on most of the terrains. I'm just primed to use it. I started with the MindLab Equinox. That's the one I'm the most versed with, and it's hard to get away from it. It's so easy to use. I wouldn't say it's the best, but it's the one I'm so used to using. But I would say the Xterra Pro is the one I'm using the most after work, and then on the weekends I either use the Deus 2 or the MANTICORE. They're both good.
Good. Thank you.
So there's a lot of factors that weigh in on the way you rate and review the machine.
Correct. And note that other people might have different opinions, and I'm okay with that. Don't listen to anybody out there that's telling you they're the sole person that no one knows anything. And Even with my experience, I work in the electrical utility field. Every human, no matter how smart you are, you always learn something new.
That's right.
You change your mind with different things, and don't let anybody tell you any different.
I have customers that'll call and I've been recommended to them and this kind of stuff. And they say, you're an expert. I said, no, I'm not. There's number one, there's no such thing as a true expert. They're very, very good at what they're doing. But I have customers bring me ideas and what they found they can do with a machine, and they teach me.
There you go. So that's what I'm talking about.
So we keep moving forward, and that's the way we got to be with it.
That's right.
Yeah, see, and Chuck's got 52 years in the hobby and still learns new things.
Yes, wow. It's went from just a plain transmitter receiver in a metal box that you could tune and balance a little bit to a computer on a stick. Basically what it is.
Yeah.
And it's computing. It's all the time. You're sending a signal down. It hits an object. It sends it back at a certain range. It's graphed. It's not metallurgy. So it's bouncing back and it's telling you this is what it thinks it is. It's never 100%.
Right.
And then you're going, the last form of discrimination is what, Josh?
You.
That's right. You got to make up your mind whether you're going to dig her or not.
That's what we tell people. You are the final form of discrimination. You want to know what it is beyond a shadow of a doubt, you've got to dig it up. Because if a machine was foolproof, if it was 100% right 100% of the time, we'd all be using it.
Right.
That's right. It would be probably kind of boring. Like, you want some level of surprise when you...
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, you're exactly right. It would take some of the fun out of it because every now and then, and I'm sure you've had it happen plenty, you get down to the beach and you're digging pull tab after pull tab after pull tab, and it's another pull tab signal, and this time it's a nice gold ring.
That's right. I had a similar in a park. I had a couple pull tabs. I'm like, here we go, another pull tab, and it was a Marine's ring.
Nice. Good
like
fun.
a class ring.
Got another question for you, Lou. And it was aimed at both of us. Have you or I or anyone else been able to get their hands on the Vortex?
I have not. I want to.
And the reason being, I got a letter from Garrett. They pushed it back again on the release to the dealers. And I just got it the other day, and it's pushed back to mid-November. Well, first week to mid-November now. So they've got they're working bunch out. I'll guarantee you.
Sorry.
Still in time for the holiday shopping season.
Oh yes.
Right.
So I do want to use it, but I'd rather them get it right. I'm not crazy about doing a dozen updates on a detector. I'd rather it just be ready.
Yeah. See this.
Right.
This
I would be willing to wait a little bit, be patient about it. If that means they're going to release it and have it right out the gate, instead of some companies going, we know we've got issues with this machine, but we're going to go ahead and release it anyway, and we'll take care of it on the back end with warranty repair.
Yeah, then the end user, they're basically beta testers at that point.
Yeah, and it's easy for a person to get frustrated with the hobby at that point.
Oh, yes, that's true. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, Chuck's right. KG and Ringy, they've got them. Gypsy Jules has got one.
Yeah.
Few people around. Soon enough, be released.
Hello, Merrill.
Yeah. A lot of times what they get in the field to start with, and I experienced this with a couple machines that were given to me early on by MindLab to do a little testing with, they were not 100% complete.
Right. Not all the features.
They don't have all the bells and whistles plugged into them. They're trying to work out the mainframe, then put that stuff on and see how it works. And so that's what's going on now.
Gotcha.
Right.
Like a
But
box of chocolates.
first, second week of November, that's not that far away.
No.
And, willing to wait a little bit if that means they're going to have it right.
Yeah. And
Mhm.
it's interesting to see that this machine is going to be, instead of buying a different machine, you buy a new program, the whole machine.
Yeah. At first, I was like, why don't they just let you download it? But then I'm thinking about it. You see how other lines have 3 or 4 different of the same machines. I mean, it's definitely cheaper to just download.
Yep. And
buy 4 detectors.
right. Well, we'll see how this works out because it could change the whole face of it in the future.
Yeah, it might be a trend. It might not be a good thing either. I don't know.
No. So
Yeah.
They might hold back features on purpose.
Concept. It is an interesting concept. We'll have to wait and see how it goes, because the way it sounds, basically, with the upgrade that you pay for, the updates are free, but the upgrade that you pay for is just the difference in price between the model you have and the model you're going to.
Mm.
So we'll see. We'll see how this all works out. It's a new trend, and sometimes during downloads and upgrades on the computer, there are glitches, and some areas don't have the same speed on their computing systems through their internet service, whether it's like Usenet or Frontier or whatever. They're fixed speeds and they're multiple line type things, and they can get interrupted, and we'll just see how this works out. Or do they send you a card and you put it in your detector and plug it in? I don't know.
Right. And who knows, at least with the Vortex, this could kind of change things a little bit on how you rate that machine. That may be another factor to take into account.
Mm-hmm.
It's true. I think I'm going to buy the lower end one just so I could show everybody how it goes with each download from the bottom up.
Yeah, that sounds like a good way to do it.
That was recommended because I said I wanted to get the top one. Everybody's like, no, why don't you get the bottom one, detect with it, see it, and compare the differences for everybody. So somebody might just want to go ahead and find a better one.
Yeah, that way we can see the increase in performance, or what is the benefit to us upgrading.
Right.
I mean, I've already read some stuff from people that are bashing it and they don't even have it in their hands.
I know, right? I've seen fake accounts. I don't know where these people are coming from. Fake accounts, no pictures, just ragging on them. Like, you wonder who would spend their time doing that. It's very strange.
Right. Yeah. And we've seen it with other machines too. I mean, before the machine even has a chance to be out in the end user hands, or before said person can even get their hands on one, they're already out there saying it's the greatest thing since sliced bread, or it's an inferior machine. You don't want to waste your time with it. How do you know? It hasn't had a chance to prove itself in the field.
Right. Can you imagine that somebody telling you a car is great and then you never even drove it?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Same thing.
Same thing.
Yeah, I mean, that's a perfect analogy to it. How do they know how great the car is? They never drove it around, nothing like that.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. You're basing your opinion off of a photo or whatever. That's not the way to.
Time will tell.
That's right. That's right.
Yep.
We will see.
Yep, we got to see.
Well, and Garrett has had quite the track record. I mean, their pinpointer is still one of the world's most popular, and the AT series, there again, they had hit another home run with it.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see what happens with the Vortex.
It ran for quite a few years as the #1 top-selling metal detector in the world, the AT series.
But
Yes,
when
it
I
did.
started, they were. If I was researching the best detectors to get in my price range, it was under 1,000, and that's what pretty much came up the Pro and the Max at that point. But I won a White's MX Sport at a club, so that's the one I started with.
Oh wow!
I have to give a shout out to a buddy of mine, Alan Landau. That was cold, and there's a joke behind Dennis Grettencourt and Wendy's on there, and he that was good, Alan. All right, sorry.
Imagine that.
Oh, there's a story there. Let me tell you.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Definitely. So when you and Meryl got to discussing, hey, because Meryl's going, I can't do the website. I want you to take it over or whatever. Did you find it difficult to transition? Because now you go from maybe a couple of machines to quite a few machines. Which one do I start with?
Right, very overwhelming. I'm still a little overwhelmed when I come in this room. So I really I told him, you have to give me a couple weeks. I'm thinking about it. I'm talking to my wife about it. I said, friend of Meryl is obviously got this job and this opportunity, and he could either shut this site down or I could take it over. And I love doing this. And we agreed on we're going to make the time and do it. It's something I love to do. And everything I do with this hobby is for the benefit of the hobby. And making and being with my friends. That's it. There's no other ulterior motive other than having a good time and keeping this hobby legal for everybody. That's another thing I wanted to touch on. So years ago, it was in a Brooklyn park before I was into the hobby, and somebody was, I don't think they were digging a hole properly, and they mouthed off to a park police person. Well, they wound up banning metal detecting in almost every park in New York City. There was only 2 on the permit, and the people in my club, some of them that aren't there anymore, they formed a metal detecting task force where they lobbied and did community things to get those permissions back. And it's very fragile. Once you lose your rights, it's very hard to get back. So that's another reason why we're so adamant about constantly talking about it, whether it's at the club meetings, if we find somebody on the in the field, we're always talking about it. Because it only took one person to ruin it for everybody. And we gotta do is mouth off to the wrong person.
Yeah, exactly. We tell people all the time, our actions in the field don't just affect us. It affects the hobby as a whole.
Right.
Well, they had a similar thing happen in Chicago, and their force district cannot be dug in anymore.
Yeah. And they made lots of nice finds out of there.
And that could also ruin a permission. There's clubs in New Jersey that had this permission on a farm, and if you leave garbage or if you leave holes around trees, or that person will kick you off the property and possibly the whole club. So the club ECRDA, what they generally do now is, if we're at a permission, we have a little rally in the beginning. Everyone has like a 5-gallon bucket. We all look around for garbage. We pick it up, and we have ground rules. This is what you have to do. This is what you can't do. That's good advice if you're in a club to do that before you just say, hey, go out, guys, and do what you got to do.
Yeah, absolutely. Leave the place better than you found it.
Yes.
It's good motto.
Good. And it has become, well, with the popularity of it, zooming like it did with television shows, and some of the TV shows weren't what I would call very good for us. and others have been great for us. It's grown, and so people that don't do it have sometimes a positive view or a negative view. And when you run into the ones with a negative view, you try to sell it to them, show them what you're doing, tell them, we'll work with you, whatever. And sometimes you win. Other times they just flat say no.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Or you've got the ones that you need to kind of take off to the side and say, hey, look, this is really not the way you should be doing this. Like,
Right.
I've seen it before where, little Joey gets a detector for Christmas, and first thing he does is run down to the beach with a number 2 garden shovel. It's like, no, this is not how you do this.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's take a look at what you found. What do you consider your favorite find ever?
Ever.
Ever.
Well, okay. I did a house. I can't say the house it is because we're still digging it up. And it's a historic house. Everything we find. Oh, you have to give me a moment. It's a Henry Clay presidential button, the great negotiator.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, this, and it was like the first or second target at this house. I couldn't believe. I didn't know what it was at first, but I knew it was something great. And it's on display right now at a local museum. Let me find this here, right here. Look how nice that is.
Oh, sweet.
It's more green. It looks gold. It's more green. Yeah, it rang up like a little higher than a quarter. Maybe like a 33 or a 32.
Is that
how green it is?
Pewter?
Yeah, I think it's brass. It might be. I'm not sure.
It could be brass. That's neat. Now
it says his name on there. See, Henry Clay.
Yeah. What dating on that?
It's 1844.
Very cool.
And I found Canadian large cents there, a bunch of silver coins. The place is just loaded. And you have to go back there. The same place I found that buckle. I couldn't even find that in the buckle book. I don't know how old that is. But the house is from the 1600s.
Cool.
Is that cool?
That's cool.
That stuff excites me. Like my name.
Now, can I throw something at you on that buckle? That looks like a British cartridge box buckle.
Wow.
I'm serious. That's what it looks like.
Yeah.
Because I've actually handled some intact ones, and it had it wasn't a total square. It kind of came down like that.
Right.
And that looks like a British cartridge box.
Well, and he's in the right area that he could.
Yeah.
That was all the same property. But there's a Rosie, then another quarter, and then a Canadian large cent. It's all from the same house.
Cool.
It was just an epic permission to get. And at first I was able to bring it to my club to show the finds of the month. And then we put it in a Ricker box and donated it for them to display.
Nice.
Very nice.
When you took it to your club to show as like find of the month, did you win find of the month?
Actually, I showed it on a Zoom meeting because it was during the pandemic. Very tragic.
Oh.
Yep. How sad is that? Yeah, that was terrible. But it's all right.
There have been other times where I've seen people make a really phenomenal find, and they take it to their club meeting to show for find of the month, thinking, "Oh, this will clinch it for sure." And somebody manages to be just a little luckier and outdoes them that month.
It happens. I've actually seen newer coins win, and I'm just baffled. I'm like, what?
I'll tell you a quick story on that. I've been going to Alaska for many, 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 many years. My favorite hunting is nugget. I love the gold nugget hunt, and I've been fortunate and found some good ones. And I came back and I went to our club down there, and I had just shy of a 2-ounce piece.
Wow.
So I take it in and find of the month, and I'm looking, And I showed the club president, I said, what do you put this in? And he goes, what's that? I said, that's about a 2-ounce gold nugget, dude. Collectibles. All right. So I put it in the collectibles. I got beat out by an Orphan Annie ring.
What?
They-
Give me a break. You got to redo that one.
the-
That's what I'm talking about. How does that work?
They didn't know. Most people walk along there. I just had it sitting there with a collectible tag by it. It says collectible. You put it on there. I didn't write down that it was a 1.85 ounce gold nugget found in Alaska. They actually quizzed me if I found it with a metal detector.
Right,
said
they're
if-
probably going, that's kind of a neat rock.
Quite a few years ago, I said, I go up there, I find all the time. So, you know, somebody's concept
Wow.
of a collectible was not a gold nugget.
Did you find it with a metal detector?
Huh?
Did you use a detector to find that, or you just
Yeah,
sifted through-
Oh,
wow.
I detect old tailings all over in Alaska, and
Wow.
we come up with some pretty good ones, Lou.
Man, 2 ounces.
We've had them as big as 7.5.
Oh my goodness.
So that's my hobby. And when
Oh
I
my
get away,
God.
I'll be up there 2 weeks next year. We go out looking for nuggets.
And
I've
that
never done that. I want to do that. Wow.
7.5 was found with an Equinox 800.
Yes, sir.
Wow. Oh, it has the gold mode in there. Yeah, that's what you use.
Oh, it's got a heck of prospecting
It
mode.
was found with a Equinox 800 in Parks mode.
Parks 1.
Wow.
Excuse me, Parks 2. I tell my guys that are using them, go to Parks 2. It's better than the gold prospecting mode.
Wow. Well, that's good to know. Wow. Oh my goodness.
So anyway, It isn't about me, it's about you. But when you said that, that popped up. I had to tell the story
It
about it.
happens.
Yep.
Yeah.
They should put that in that detector show. That's something that happens to everybody.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, you get that phenomenal find that you're like, oh my God, this is so awesome.
Yeah.
And then you can't even really show it off the way you'd like to because of the pandemic. That kind of stings.
Those are the best finds I got was during that time because I was detecting every other day, sometimes every day.
Oh yeah.
That's a shame.
But
Well, and
that
just goes to show you that sometimes just because it's a valuable find doesn't necessarily mean that it's your favorite find.
Right. Correct.
and some you don't want to show, you know.
Yeah, I got a couple more I'll show you. I don't have all of my good stuff here, unfortunately.
Oh yeah.
So in the woods, I have no idea what this would be doing in the middle of the woods in New York City. I'm not even sure the age. It's this old Chinese coin. That has to be old.
Yeah.
That has to be old. The first one I found.
Oh wow.
This is a collared disc, World War I, New York Regiment.
Wow.
Collared disc. And then I found it in Staten Island. Then I
Yeah.
went to a. I'm sorry.
We're a little cross channel of some
That's
kind.
in beautiful.
Yeah. Then I went to New Jersey Farm with this YouTuber named Rusty Digger. I haven't seen him on YouTube in a while. He invited me because they were going to build on this farm. And I pulled this out. He was finding reals. Unfortunately, I didn't find one of those. But I found another collar disc, a complete one. And it said, this is Wyoming. Now, I looked up the population of Wyoming now and during World War I. There's not a lot of people living there. So what are the odds of this ending up in New Jersey on a farm? I have no idea. So that's pretty exciting to find.
Yeah.
I wonder
There
who made
again.
that, you know?
There again, some of the finds you just kind of go, wow, how did something like that get here?
Right. How to get here, who had it. Personal items are always great. Yeah, it's personal, it's military. it hits all those things I love. I love American history. And this was off a beach in Staten Island. A Union button.
Oh yeah, General Service.
Nice.
That was on the beach after a storm.
Wow.
It's still a little green over here. I didn't know what it was until I brought it home and looked it up.
Yeah,
people wear their coats home. That's why we find buckles, and you find buttons from Civil War or whatever war. They wore their jackets, and there was no landfills and the Department of Sanitation back then.
Yeah, and they're in good condition as well. When you find some of these finds like what you've shown, what is your preferred method of conservation?
These, all I did was put soap and water on it, and in my treasure box, if they're dried. I really don't. The only time I really try to clean some, it's if it's an old beat up copper where you can't see a date. I just want to get that date off. Where I try using a toothpick. Aqua Chigger has this great video on YouTube. I always refer people where he cleans it with the toothpick. He just gives it a little grease and just hits it, and it gives you the outline. And he tells you, look,
it pops right out.
Yeah, if you do go too far, you can't go back. I'm sure you or somebody you know has gone too far with copper coins.
Oh yeah,
but sometimes you can't get anything off of them. It's just the nature of the soil.
You'll pull up some real nice green looking coins, and if you do anything, even if you use electrolysis, the patina falls off and you lose detail. And so you got to make the choice of which, do I clean it? Do I just toothpick it? Do I just lightly rinse it? Sometimes you get one that is so crudted up, you can throw it in on electrolysis and bring stuff back.
Right.
But, that's
situational, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm definitely guilty of ruining coins, unfortunately. When I first started.
There's a learning curve, and sadly they have to learn from their experience of, well, I guess I shouldn't have done that. And you have to kind of you got to know when to call the cookie done.
Right.
Yep. So I'll have to get on. I haven't watched your videos. My time sometimes is narrow, so watching videos, I'm going to make sure I get on and see some of your ratings. I want to see that.
Well, to be honest, I haven't put out a lot of content over this year because my kids were in school. I have so much video I have to go through and upload. I just haven't really been putting out there. I've been putting the ratings on the website, but the videos are coming, guys.
Okay.
They're not going to drag. Very informative.
Yeah.
So you've been recording, you just haven't been uploading yet.
Right. Correct. I have like several memory cards full of videos, but
right.
So some of that stuff isn't going to come out. It's going to be up to date stuff.
I guess for those that may be wondering, what's your go-to for your camera and your editing software?
I use a GoPro. I believe it's a 6. And I also use my iPhone. I use this app also, StreamYard, and with the combination between that and the Apple software. That's it.
Oh, nice.
Nice.
So fairly simple and straightforward.
Yes. I do want to get a good camera. I'm not a big fan of bringing the phone because it's too wonky. The GoPro is good, but the only problem with a GoPro is you can't zoom in. It's just
that's it.
Wide angle.
Yep, fixed lens.
Yeah. It's good for action photos though.
Like
if I fall down a hill, it's good.
Of course, you're younger than me. You'll bounce better.
Right? Yeah. Well, I'll save that. That may make for some nice B-roll footage or something. Bloopers.
Yep. It's also good to drop down a well, see what's down there because it's waterproof. If you tie it up.
Yeah, you want to make sure you're well tied.
Make sure you don't lose it.
That's right.
So. Yeah, not cheap.
Mm-hmm.
But you're right. Sometimes there are those times where you're out hunting, or I don't know, maybe trying to do a tutorial video or something where you're just kind of going, man, I'd really love to be able to zoom in and show the details of this find. Yes. You can't do that.
Right. You have to bring a film crew.
Yeah. And then I don't know about you, but like when I was doing that stuff, it's like, yeah, but that's more stuff I've got to carry into the field, and
right.
Then maybe the pressure's on. You got to find something good, or you do find something good. Well, now I got to turn it into a video, and there's other days where you don't want to bring the camera along. I'm out there for me. I'm out there to relax and have fun. No video.
That's the best. The best.
Right.
No camera, just total. You're just in the zone.
Yep.
Yeah.
If we get a chance and you get across from New York over here to the Midwest, we'd sure like to have you at some of the events. You'll meet some good people.
That sounds good. I look forward to it. We want to travel the whole country, so that's something I'm definitely considering.
Yep. And get on my Facebook, Chuck Smalley, and send me a request, and we'll hook up, and we can chat about future detectors.
Awesome. Sounds great.
Right. Now, have you had the opportunity to do many events other than just like your local club events?
Only in New Jersey and New York, but I do want to do more. Obviously, I prefer the club hunts that are ran by clubs. I've never done one I didn't do Pound the Ground or any of those big ones yet. But I prefer doing open seated hunts from clubs.
We've got several clubs out here doing them. Dig Stock and put on by the Chicago group. And we've got
Chicago Dig Fest.
Detecting the Heartland. They sell out their spots. Detecting the Heartland sell out their spots in 30 minutes.
Wow.
Or less.
Wow.
Or less. They've actually had a record where they've sold 170 spots in 20 minutes.
That's unbelievable. We're putting on our second club hunt. We don't want any more people because we're a small club. And it definitely wasn't that quick. Wow.
And Alan and his group sold out. Next year, they've got a spot in Wisconsin that sounds pretty interesting to go to. Very old. That's a good hunt. And if I decides they want to get back together, do another one, swing in the summer at Galesburg, we had 150. Most of these hunts go up to 225. That's it. They cut them off.
Yeah.
Are most of them natural hunts, or are they
natural hunting? They go into different areas, and it's generally a site that you can naturally hunt, and they find stuff quite a bit actually. And then they have some seated hunts and competitions and night hunt where you're out with a pinpoint on your hands and knees and that type of stuff. They have some fun stuff and raffles and events that go with it. The meet and greet, they'll have KG and Ringy there. They'll have quarter order and different people like from the area, that run different things for the group.
Yeah, I definitely want to get on those old type of permissions like that. I want to organize on that. Sounds like
some fun when they're at the old Boy Scout camps. They've got some that date back to the 20s, and a couple of them that we went into, they never been hunted.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Or Give him a little bit of the rundown of Lake Story.
Lake Story, the place that we hold our hunts at, was a railroad lake. In other words, they built it because it's one of the major steam railroad lines. They needed water supply. So they built about a 90-acre lake and pumped it and refilled the steam engines.
Wow.
But they stocked it. It became a park then in the 1880s, and it grew. It's about, if I'm not mistaken, 436 acres. And they let us do the park.
Wow.
And there were farmsteads there, large cents, and earlier coins have come up. And then they have the seated hunt, and then we have meet and greet, and it's a lot of fun. Meet a lot of people. You get to meet guys that you like you that are doing stuff on YouTube. We bring in YouTubers, and KG and Riggy love coming out here to the Midwest because, of course, Ringy's from right our area here out in Iowa, Davenport originally, and that kind of stuff. So he's out seeing mom and dad, and they come back, and my lab sets up, and Notka, and we've had Deus out here, and I'm sure we'll have Deus again. All the major companies come out, and they donate some stuff, and we the one hunt we had at Galesburg, we gave 45 detectors away in one afternoon.
Wow, that's a lot. That's great.
They've been doing it a while.
Wow. Sounds like it.
Matter of fact, that's been not too awful many years back. One of the hunters that was out hunting the park come up with a hand grenade.
Oh, was it live?
Yes, sir.
Oh, boy.
During the hunt. This is Josh Marsh, but he hunts that area. He's from that area. He was down in the woods, part of it.
Mm-hmm.
He loves digging relics. He'll dig it all. He finds a hand grenade. He calls the cops. Well, the cops are thinking it's one of the demilled ones. There's a hole in the bottom, and there's nothing there to it. He threw it in his trunk and drove home with it. The cops met him at his house. And he's standing there, and he tells the story really, really good. I'm holding it out, showing him, and he said, show me the bottom. He said, slowly put it on the ground. Very, very slowly. They came out, bomb squad come out, it blew. They blew it up.
Wow.
So, and it was World War II. It was the pineapple style.
Wow.
Sitting in the park forever.
Carrying that around. Stud.
Oh my goodness.
So yeah, that's that. Yes, it came out of that park. I hope there's no more.
Right? Yeah, I think if I had been carrying it around for a while, thinking it was a dud, it's in your pouch, it's knocking up against other things, it's in the trunk of the car, rolling around. I think I'd start looking things over a little more closely after that.
Wow.
Yeah.
That would make me nervous digging in Europe, not for nothing. You think about it, all the bombs that would drop there.
We had this year,
some
guys, we've got fragments of bomb in England.
Yeah, it's scary stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I guess it's safe to say you've never found anything like that when you've been hunting.
I'm sorry?
I guess it's safe to say you've never found anything like that while you've been.
Just live bullets. That's it. That's it. Nothing else dangerous.
Well, thankfully, those are a little easier to deal with.
Yeah.
A lot of the guys this year found 50 caliber bullets through the fields, but that particular area was the route to London for the Germans to come in, and that's where a lot of dogfights were held, and aircraft pieces of shrapnel come down. So you find that.
It really does make you wonder. You think sometimes it'd be cool to go and hunt some of these different places, and then you start to kind of wonder, well, I don't know, maybe not.
Somebody said no landmines in New York. There are a lot of musket balls out here. Yeah. God forbid.
Oh yeah, I imagine you guys find all sorts of lead.
I've had find guns that were washed up, like old ones, like a Ruger. I think it's called what are those old German guns with the long pistol?
Ruger,
I found that washed up.
Ruger,
I
German.
also found a cop's taser gun that just washed in. I don't know how that wound up in the ocean, but it did.
Wow.
Oh,
Yep.
Mm.
it just goes to show you never know what you're going to find next.
Yeah, as long as we don't find anything that involves me testifying, I'm okay. You know. I always worry about that.
Yeah. Yeah, I can understand that.
A lot of people would say, "Why are you detecting with your earphones off?" Well, when I started out, I really didn't detect with anybody, so I'd always keep there. Surprisingly, in New York City, we have a lot of deer in this borough. You want to be able to hear them, or somebody. You know, I would just leave them off.
Oh wow.
Well, it's like there's a particular brand of headphones called Rattler, and they're called that for a reason. They only have one side. The guy, the guy's out through the Southwest looking for gold. Rattlesnakes.
Oh, rattlesnake. That makes sense. Wow, that's a great idea.
Yeah, you got to make sure to hear them.
I never heard of that. I'm going to make a note of that.
They're still made.
Rattler, huh?
Rattler brand. So.
Yep.
And
it's a lot easier than, the whole hunting with one ear cup off of an ear.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, hold on one second.
You just never know, though.
Can't get to it right now. I have a bunch of antlers up there.
Well, we've run him over quite a bit.
Yes, we have. And I imagine you fielded all the questions you can from the chat.
Yeah, I haven't seen any more come up other than Staten Island history likes your backdrop.
Hey, right here. Look at that.
There you go.
The only New York City metal detecting club.
There you go. Like it. Like it very much.
Well, you got to represent.
Yep.
Yes, sir. But keep going. Get them kids out in the field will you. Keep doing what you're doing.
Sure. Sounds good.
Yeah, it sounds like, obviously looking at your wall behind you there, you've got enough detectors. You can get them out hunting.
Yep. Definitely do.
Yeah, you should never have any trouble of saying, "Hey, this detector went dead. I got another one in the car. Don't worry about it."
That's right.
You got to
get prepared.
Yeah, you're just about got as many as I do.
Well, you just gotta get that vortex now. Check that out. I'm excited.
Yeah, that's coming. I'm interested in running that too. I get out and I try them out, and I actually was very impressed with the Mind Lab setup on that XTREME Pro.
Yeah, surprisingly, me too.
Yep. It's a comfortable machine, and it does well. The only thing it doesn't have is the original 705 gold program in it. That was a killer gold program, but that's what you got in the 800 now.
That's right.
That 705 was a good machine.
Yes. Just had to change coils to change frequencies. That was the only problem.
That was a little bit of a pain.
Yep.
It was. And I guess one more thing before we let you go, Lou, you had mentioned you couldn't wait to get back out in the woods. Recently, Brad from Green Mountain Detecting apparently has came down with a case of Lyme's disease. Any issues with ticks, or what do you do to try and prevent the ticks?
Well, it's good that I hope wish him speedy recovery. That is a big problem. We talk about that often. What we do is wear light clothes whenever you can, so you could see these things. Some when they're in the nymph stage, they're very tiny, so it can be like a pin drop. What we generally like to do is, the president of my club gave me these bands that he used. I can't think of the name of them right now, that they use in the military, and it goes around your ankles to close.
Gators.
That's it.
Yep.
That's it.
That's what I wear.
That it's good to have a separate pair of pants for hunting. Obviously, you don't want to spray that that tick spray. I can't think of the name of that either.
Permethrin.
Permethrin. Yep. On your boots, on your pants, and do a tick check every now and then. I've had them on me. Luckily, they've never bit me. But anytime you're rubbing on something, check yourself. That's when they latch on you. They're just waiting for you, and they latch onto you. And in the summertime, it is so bad here. The brush is just so thick, you're gonna get dozens on you. So we wait for stuff to die down so we get back in there.
Cat out here too.
Right. Well, and it makes it easier to spot the cellar holes you're looking for when the brush is down.
100%. But there's those hardcore metal detectors. They're going out there. They're going through thick brush. That's why they're getting the good finds. But you have to weigh, or at least make sure you protect yourself as much as possible.
Yeah. Gotta weigh the pros and cons and be vigilant.
Right. If you have the bullseye, you need to get to the doctor ASAP.
Yeah.
Before it gets worse.
Yeah, definitely. Very good.
Nice. I've had it twice.
I think, I guess before we let you go, is there anything you would like to plug?
I would like to plug your channel. Everybody, make sure you subscribe to Beyond Sight and Sound.
Yeah.
And give the thumbs up. It's a great channel, great podcast. That's it. I'm glad you had me on here. I love this stuff.
We'll bring you back.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Guys.
I'll tell you what, let's get you back when the vortex is out there.
Let's do it.
That's what I was just thinking.
I'm always available for a podcast with you guys.
There you go. I'll get my hands on one. You get your hands on one. And we'll sit and tear it apart.
Sounds
then
good.
pull it up if it's good.
Okay.
Great. Yeah, you guys can compare notes and see what you think, what's good, what's bad.
Mm-hmm. All right.
Maybe a particular style of hunting it works better for.
Yeah.
I'm hoping. I want to see American companies come back, roaring back. Let's go.
Yeah, we need it.
Yep.
Badly.
Yep.
So.
Well, we certainly appreciate you for taking the time tonight, Lou. And look forward to having you on again some night.
All right, gentlemen.
All righty, sir. And to all your friends that tuned in tonight, thank you. We have a pretty good base, and you're welcome. Come on back. We're on Sundays and Wednesdays.
Thank you, guys. Anybody I didn't say hi to, hello, everybody. Goodbye, everybody.
All right. And I'm out here. Thanks, Josh.
Thanks, Chuck.
Thanks, sir.
All righty. Hope to see you in the field, Lou. Bye-bye.
All right, pal. Have a good one.
You too.
All right. And you have a wonderful night yourself, Lou.
Good night, pal. Have a good one.
Okay. So, Lou DeFeo, Indiana Tones on YouTube. Check out his channel if you haven't already. Subscribe. Link is in the description for his YouTube channel, as well as the link for iratemetaldetectors.com. That's irate as in I review, not I'm angry. And we did kind of touch on it. It did come to my attention. Those of you that do follow Green Mountain Detecting on YouTube, apparently Brad is dealing with a case of Lyme's. Very unfortunate. So we're also keeping him in our thoughts, as well as the continued fallout from the hurricane. Not a good situation. Not a good situation at all. Cell phone reception is spotty. Roads are gone. There's just, it's all sorts of things. Either way, though, like Lou said, if you enjoyed the show, throw us a like, follow the channel. You can find us here on YouTube, Wednesdays, Sundays, 8 p.m. Eastern. Metal Detecting Beyond Sight and Sound on Facebook, Beyond Sight and Sound page on Facebook. We're also over on all the wonderful podcast distribution services. I know I had mentioned, some time back, that we may go ahead and let that fall to the wayside after the first of the year, but there is still a phenomenal amount of activity through the audio side of the podcast. So I guess we're going to keep it up. Keep it going. And continued success to Lou with his channel and with the website as well. Have a wonderful evening, folks. We're out of here.
We sure are glad you found us here tonight. Thanks for dropping by and joining in. If you like metal detecting, treasure hunting, gold prospecting, or even entertaining discussion, check us out Wednesdays and Sundays, 8 p.m. Eastern, on your favorite podcast distribution services.